Let's recite together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the sublime, the victorious, the totally self-enlightened. Okay, welcome everyone. So it has been a little while since our last class, and so today we are going to continue with the rest of chapter 7. I think today we're going to actually finish chapter 7. We are still on the Sabha Sangaha, the compendium on all, chapter 7. And so there are still three categories, three things that we are going to look at before we finish this chapter. And those are the Āyatana, Dhātu, and Ariya Sacca. Again, it's the same ultimate realities, which is now called Āyatana or base, and then which is also sometimes called Dhātu in a different category, and the Four Noble Truths. So these are the three categories that we are going to look at today. We're going to start with Āyatana. Now, Āyatana, this Pali word, it means a base or a house or a place So a base or a house or a place of what? So that is a base of chitta. No. Well, when we say that it is a base, that means they are the base for consciousness to arise. Consciousness depends on this basis for them to arise. Therefore, they are called the Āyatana here. So there are altogether 12 bases, so 12 Āyatana. 6 of them are internal and 6 of them are external. And then now you will see that they come in pairs. And so it's easy to understand and easy to remember. Okay, so let's go to the first one. Let's take eye consciousness. For eye consciousness to arise, what is necessary? Or in other words, what is eye consciousness based on? Now, obviously, for eye consciousness to arise, for us to see something, we need a physical eye, right? So in the eye, we have previously already studied about this. There are this kind of sensitive matter, this kind of rupa, that's called pasada rupa, chaku pasada, inside the eye, right? So that for eye consciousness to arise, first there must be the physical eye. So pasada rupa, eye sensitivity, that is one condition. Now we also need something to see, right? So the visible object is also important. And visible object, sometimes it is called rupa, sometimes it's also called vana. Vana is more like color. Rupa is the visible quality of matter itself, something that is visible. It's also called rupa, just like the matter. So sometimes it can be confusing, but this rupa here will mean the visible property of the matter. Right? So rupa or vana. So we need these two things. And then when this visible quality, the object, and eye sensitivity, when they get into contact, then eye consciousness arise, right? So for eye consciousness to arise, we need eye sensitivity and the visible object. And these two are the first set of the Āyatana. We call it the Chakayatana, the eye base, and the Rupayatana, the visible object base. So the first two bases. So one external, which is the visible object base, and one internal, which is the eye base. So Chaku Pasada and Rupa or Vana. Yeah. So that's the first set. Now, in the same way, we can understand, and easy to understand the next ones. For ear consciousness to arise, we need the Sota Pasada, the ear sensitivity, and we need audible object, so sound. So with the help of space, when they get into contact, then ear consciousness can arise. So in this case, the other set of bases are the ear base, Sotayatana, and sound base, Sadayatana. So these are the second set. Now, in the same way, we can understand again for nose consciousness to arise, we need the pasada rupa, nose sensitivity, And the object now is correspondent object, which is smell. So here we have Ganda Yatana, nose base, and Ganda Yatana, smell base. So here in the third set, and in the same way, for tongue consciousness to arise, we need tongue sensitivity, pasada rupa, and then we need the taste itself. So rasa. So here it is called rasa yatana, taste base, tongue base, and taste base. So now we have 4 sets already. And then the last set of the 5 senses, which is the body sensitivity and the tangible object. Now for kaya vijnana, for body consciousness to arise, these 2 bases are necessary. Now for ultimate reality, for this body sensitivity, for body base, we know it is the pasada rupa, body sensitivity, right? Now, how about the object, tangible object base? That's Votaba, that's called Votaba Yatana. We know that whatever that is being able to touch is actually a combination of 3 material property, right? You still remember as the earth element, fire element, and the air element, right? So these 3, combination of these 3 is called the tangible object, and hence here the tangible object based. Okay, so for body consciousness to arise, we need body base and tangible object base. In ultimate reality, the 3 Mahabhuta here, right? The 3 primary elements, 3 of the primary elements. Okay, so we have already gone through 10 of the 12 base. So we have eye base with its object, rupa, visible object base, the first set. Then we have ear base and sound base. Then we have nose base, smell base, and then tongue base and taste base, as well as body base and tangible object base. Okay, so we have seen 5 internal base and 5 external bases. Actually, they are the door and their correspondent object, right? So when we study Āyatana, and we can understand that for the 5 sense consciousness to arise, we need an internal base and an external base, which is, in other words, the door, the 5 sense doors, and its correspondent object, right? Okay, so that's the Āyatana. But now here, one more pair is missing, right? That's the mind. So here, we still need the mind and the object that the mind takes. Okay, so let's look at this pair because it's a little bit different from the other ones. Here, it's called the Manayatana and Dhammayatana. So Manayatana is translated as the mind base, and the Dhammayatana, Dhamma object base, mind base. What does that mean in ultimate reality? And what are their objects, right? Okay, so let's see. Do you still remember when we look at the mind door process or the 5 sense door process, the mental processes? Then we see that in the stream of the mind, when one chitta arises, that chitta must cease in order for another chitta to arise, right? So there are no 2 chitta that arise together at the same time. So they're always one after the other. One arise, exists, and then it ceases, and then another one arise and then exists. So therefore, for chitta to arise, the previous chitta must disappear first in order for the other chitta to be able to arise. Therefore, it is said here that chitta themselves are called the mind base or the door of other chitta to arise. That's because one arises and then it must disappear and for the other one to arise. So in this sense, here, Manayatana, mind base, we take all kinds of chittas to be the door or the mind base. But of course, when we studied a little while ago, when we studied the other 5 pair, we said that it is the door and the object, eye door and its object, ear door and its object, and here mind door and its object, right? But if you remember, in chapter 3, we studied that mind door, manodora, strictly speaking, it means only bhavanga chitta, if you still remember in chapter 3. So, but here we need to understand that it is not only this Manayatana is not only just the Bhavanga Chitta. Now, Bhavanga Chitta is called the mind door, strictly speaking, because it is only after Bhavanga Chitta ceases that the other active minds arise, the active part of the mind. Bhavanga is quite very passive, no, it's quiet, no? So when something happens, so when there is something to look at, when some sound happened or something, then the mind turns to the five sense door, or when the mind thinks about something, then the mind start to become active, and all other active chitta arise after that, after Bhavanga Chitta cease. So therefore, Bhavanga Chitta, strictly speaking, is called the mind door. But here, when we talk about Manayatana, we need to take it in the sense that every type of consciousness is a door for another consciousness to arise. So here, Manayatana, we take all chittas to be mind-based here. Okay, is that okay?
Even the Bhavanga ones?
Yes, even Bhavanga. So all kinds of chittas are called mind-based here. Okay, all of them. All right. So now we know that Manayatana are all chittas. Yeah. Okay. So how about Dhammayatana? The Dhamma object base. What are the objects of the mind? What objects can chitta, any kind of chitta, take?
A thought, a smell, a sound, a sight.
Right. Those ones can be taken by the eye consciousness, can take visible object, right? Because ear consciousness cannot take sound. Yeah, so they have their specific pair. So that therefore they are considered as the five senses. And in the beginning, we have already seen those bases, the a correspondent door and its correspondent object. Now, besides that, because they are already mentioned, so now here, this Dhammayatana we need to take something else, right? Okay, so let's take a look at it. Now, for the mind, objects of the mind, actually, the mind can take everything, no? Mind can take chittas as object, can take chetasikas as object, can take all kinds of rupa as object. And the ones that Claudia just mentioned now are the sound, taste, smell, and all those things. They are rupa, no? So they are included here. So rupa is possible. And even nibbana, mind can also take nibbana as object, yeah? So actually, everything can be the object of the mind. But now here, when we talk about Manayatana, the Dhamma object base, since in the previous classification of the other Ayatana, we have already mentioned some of them. So we need to exclude something to avoid an repetition, right? Okay, so let's take a look. Now, here we have already talked about the eye sensitivity, the sight, sound, smell, etc. All these have already been mentioned. They are themselves one ayatana, one base. Yeah. So here in the Dhammayatana, we have to exclude them, so we don't repeat them because they themselves are already one base already. Yeah. Okay. So in that case, although the mind, of course, can take sound, can take sight, and also even can take the pasada rupa, the sensitivity matter itself. It's also possible to be an object of the mind. But here, when we talk about Dhamma object based, we take them away because they are already mentioned. Okay, so in this case, what we need to do is all kinds of ultimate realities, everything that can be object of the mind, we minus the other ayatanas. Sorry. Okay. Again. Okay, so we take everything, excluding the ones that are already mentioned. And the remaining ones are the Dhamma object base, are the Dhammayatana. So let's take a look at Rupa first, in the Rupa group. In ultimate reality, there are 28 kinds of Rupa, right? So let's see what are already mentioned. Then we take it out. Okay, so here, eye sensitivity already mentioned, take out. Then ear sensitivity already mentioned, nose sensitivity already, tongue sensitivity already, body sensitivity already, and their respective object here, visible object, sound, smell, taste. Okay, so this one also out. And for Dhamma, this tangible object, which is the three Mahabhuta, yeah? So that's also taken out. Okay, so in the group of rupa, what is left is this 16 type of subtle matter, sukuma rupa. Okay, then how about mind? Now, we just said that this manayatana, the mind base, are what? All kinds of chitta, right? All kinds of chitta. So here, for mind, nama, chitta and cetasika, we need to take away all the chittas, yeah? So all the chittas are taken away. Okay, so in this case, what is left are the 52 cetasikas plus also nibbana, right? Okay, so therefore, all these 52 cetasikas, 1 nibbana, and 16 sukuma subtle matter, all these are called Dhammayatana, Dhamma object-based here. They are the remaining ones, okay? So remember, now we are actually categorizing all the ultimate realities. We are putting them into different groups only. So we are still talking about everything, no? So let's compare the 5 khandas and the 12 ayatanas. That will become clear, okay? Now, when we see 5 khandas, still remember we have the Vijnana khanda, consciousness aggregate, which are all the chittas. Then we have Vedana khanda, Sanya khanda, Sankhara khanda, which is Vedana, 1 cetasika, Sanya, 1 cetasika, then Sankhara, the 50 cetasika. And we also have the 28 rupa in the rupa khanda, no? Okay, so here nama and rupa is here. Now, the 12 ayatana, when we compare it, let's take the rupa first. Then the first 10 ayatanas, the first 10 bases are the 5 pairs, right? So the eye sensitivity, ear sensitivity, which all of them are inside the rupa group. No, so here 10 of them are called the ayatanas. And then how about the other one? Then we have 2 more left, the pair for the mind and the object of the mind, yeah? So we have manayatana, mind base. Mind base are the 89 or 121 chittas, yeah? So it's the same as the Vijnana khanda, actually, all of them. Then how about the Dhammayatana? The Dhammayatana are everything else that is not the chittas and not these ones, right? So in this case, Dhamma base, what are they? They are all the 52 cetasikas, as well as the remaining 16 subtle matter, plus Nibbana as well. Yeah, so if you look at this chart, then you'll see that whether it is 5 khanda or whether it is 12 ayatana, we are still talking about nama and rupa. Yeah, so but it's just a different category, a different classification of the same reality. But of course, in the 5 khanda, Nibbana is not mentioned because when we talk about khanda, last class, we have said that in order for something to be called a khanda, there must be some kind of classification inside it. It can be classified or by either it is internal or external. They have this kind of classification within it, no? But since Nibbana is unconditioned, and then it cannot be classified or to whether it is internal, whether it is external, whether it is far or near. There is not any kind of this classification. Therefore, it cannot be called a khanda. So it's not included in the khanda, but it's included in the ayatana, in the 12 bases. So here you see, we are actually classifying only the same 4 types of ultimate reality: chitta, cetasika, rupa, and nibbana. Yeah. Okay, so that's the 12 ayatanas here. Okay, up to here, all good? Yes? Okay. Any question? Yes, Claudia?
Yes, sorry. There is any reason why this is classified in this way?
Yes.
I want to know the purpose of it because I cannot understand it. Sorry.
Yeah, remember previously we also mentioned that during the 45 years of asana, when the Buddha explained the Dhamma to different people, then depending on the person, what the person needs, or how the person can understand, then the Buddha explained accordingly, for the person to easy to understand. So some people, when the Buddha said Nama and Rupa, then they understand already. Then what is the purpose first? What is the purpose of the Buddha explaining this thing? He wants us to understand that this Nama and Rupa is actually a natural process that is arising and passing away by its own cause and condition. So there is no I, anatta, no? There is no I there. I do not control these things. This Nama is not me. This Rupa is not me. And so by explaining in details what is what and their causes, then we can understand that things are impermanent. They all arise and they pass away. And if they are not permanent, then it cannot be satisfactory. They are dukkha, right? So also something that is impermanent, that is dukkha, and we have no control, absolutely no control over it, we cannot call that I, me, or mine. That's anatta, yeah? So in order for us to understand that, then the Buddha explained things in details, their causes and their condition, how things arise. So to clear our misconception or our view of that there is a permanent entity that exists here, or that things are, or that things does not change, right? Okay, so when the Buddha explained these things, sometimes some people understand very easily when he just mentioned Nama and Rupa, two things. But some other people, they needed a little bit more explanation. So in that case, the Buddha explained Chitta, Cetasika, Rupa, three things, right? Then some people, they are more intellectual maybe, and then they needed to understand more in details. So in that case, the Buddha explained the five khandhas. Now the same thing are divided into five. So we have Vijnana and Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Rupa. So five things. Then some people needed a little bit more explanation again. Then the Buddha explained about the 12 Āyatana. So the 12 bases. And for these 12 Āyatana, those are for people who can understand mind easily. Because you see, mind is all grouped together. It's all chitta. It's just manayatana. All chittas are included, right? But this for these persons, they need a little bit more explanation about rupa. So therefore, the Buddha explained in the pairs, separating the eye sensitivity and then the visible quality, etc. So a little bit more explanation on rupa. Then later, there are other people that need a little bit more explanation about the mind as well. Then we're going to the 18 dhātus. So the 18 dhātus, they are the mind, the part of the mind, manayatana, is further divided, further classified into different groups. So we have 18 elements, 18 dhātu. It's coming now in the other group. Then later on, there are still people who want to know more in details. Then the Buddha explained, like in the Abhidhamma way, exactly how many types of chittas, 89, 121. Then the cetasikas, how many? 52. Each one of them, what are their characteristics, what are their manifestations, their causes, etc. No, and then also rupa in detail, 28 types of rupa, which are them. But actually, we are only talking about the same ultimate reality. And what is this ultimate reality? This is what we call us, the chitta and cetasika and the rupa. These are all happening all the time here, no? But we take this ultimate reality, we take this reality to be me, to be I. And so this is not actually something that is outside, or that is some kind of philosophy or some kind of things that we are studying about something else. But this is a study of oneself. What are we made of? This one that I call I, what is it? It's just chitta, cetasika, and rupa, right? And of course, there is also nibbana that is to be realized by eradicating all kinds of defilements. So these are the only ultimate reality that exist. And we are in touch with this ultimate reality all the time. Yeah, so this is just a different classification for different people that have different tendency to understand easier what the ultimate reality is made up of. No, is that okay, Claudia?
Yes, it is very good, actually. Thank you very much. But
Welcome.
also, like the fact that we perceive us to be something is because we don't understand actually that the interaction between Nama and Rupa is what we are. But
Mm-hmm.
what make us believe that? The fact that we are born with it and then we just keep growing older with that strong perception of ourselves.
Mm.
Only this one.
What make us believe that?
Like, because like I understand the fact that this is only a process, and when I meditate I can detach from it, right? I can see that all this phenomenon that happening is what is me, if I can say in this way. I don't know, but what make me believe that this one is me?
Mm.
What is the
Yeah.
perception?
Yes.
Why I perceive it in this way, and I don't perceive only, okay, this phenomenon is just is a series of things that happen and there is nothing else
Mm.
out of this.
For all of us who are not an Ariya yet, who have not attained at least the first stage of enlightenment yet, we all still believe that this is me, this is mine, and this is I. No, we believe this Chitta and Rupa to be me because of DT, because of wrong view, because of not enough wisdom. So sometimes we say that in our meditation, we kind of understand, we kind of see, we intellectually also understand, maybe experientially, we also sometimes experience a little bit of distance. No, we see how things arise and it passes away. But seeing only one time or two time or even 100 times is not good enough. My meditation teacher said we have to keep watching and watching until the wisdom is strong enough, then we really see ultimate reality, Chitta and Cetasika and Rupa, how what are their characteristics, how they arise and how they passes away. When we know them clearly, and then we know the causes clearly, then that's the time when DT is no more, when we attain the first stage of enlightenment. No, so until then, we need to keep watching and keep watching and keep watching. And because there are still a lot of defilements for all of us that are not enlightened yet, so we also have to work on that. When we have less attachment, why do we think that this is me, then or not just this is me, no, but why do we keep having attachment towards myself? Yeah, that's because we still have the vipallasa, we still have the perversion of view. No, we still think that things are quite permanent. I wake up that this morning I'm still here, and tomorrow I will still be here. That we believe like that. No, we don't think we're going to die in the next moment. Although we know intellectually it is possible, but we don't believe that everyone else can die, but not me, right? Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, so we still have this kind of idea. We still think that things are quite enjoyable. We like it, although we know that it is dukkha. Yeah, we know it's dukkha, but oh, this ice cream is still very tasty. Yeah. So we still have this attachment towards even simple things. So all these things are contributing to our prolongation in samsara. So slowly, we have to develop the wisdom and to really try to look at ultimate reality as much as possible instead of the concept. Because I is a concept. Ice cream is also a concept. No, all this is just concept, but we focus on the concept. When we focus on the concept, the mind easily get attached to that because we think these things are nice and they are good. Yeah. So slowly with practice, then hopefully we'll arrive sooner. Then yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, you raised your hand.
Yes. So I think I missed the part where you explained where what exactly Ayatana is. And I wondered if you could repeat it, please, because I'm just a little bit lost with the definition, why they are the bases.
Āyatana is called the basis because they are the basis basis of what? Basis of the mind to arise. So mind, all kinds of chitta or consciousness depend on something to arise. Yeah. So they are the basis for consciousness to arise. So for eye consciousness to arise, what are the bases? What is necessary? So chakku pasada, eye sensitivity, as well as rupa, visibility of the object. So this is the basis for eye consciousness to arise. Then in the same way, for ear consciousness to arise, we need ear sensitivity, we need sound, this pair. So for nose, tongue, and body, we understand it in the same way. For nose consciousness to arise, these two bases necessary. Tongue consciousness to arise, these two bases necessary. And for body consciousnness to arise, then these two bases necessary. Yeah. So this is easy to understand because this is the five senses, And then why are they singled out here? That's because they are particular. For example, eye consciousness cannot take sound. Possible? No, we cannot see sound. We cannot taste sound. Yeah. So for eye consciousness to arise, these two must be its base. Even there is ear, even there is taste, eye consciousness cannot arise. Yeah. So they are particular to themselves. Like for that kind of consciousness to arise, it must be that particular base. Yeah. So therefore, they are the pairs are here single out. Then for the mind, of course, other kinds of all kinds of chittas. For example, if we remember a picture or we remember some sound, all other kinds of chitta other than ear consciousness can also take sound as object, right? Even when we react to the sound, those jhavana chittas, kusala chitta, akusala chitta, we like the sound, we don't like the sound, we're still taking that same object, but there are different kinds of consciousness, right? So here, this mind, although they can also take these kinds of object as object, but because it is mentioned already as an other ayatana, other base, then we take them out. So here, the remaining objects that the mind can take other than these 10 are all included here in this group. Dhammayatana, the Dhamma object base. So other types of chitta depends on all kinds of chittas depends on other chittas that ceases for them to arise. Because if other chitta does not cease, it cannot arise. So it's a base for chitta to arise as well as its object. So therefore, this ayatana here, base of what? Base for chitta or consciousness to arise. So these are the 12 bases. Yeah, Edith?
I just want to, so my confusion is about, I understand the consciousness part is part of the a living being, right? And what I don't understand, why is base for external object is only base, like basis, is the only word that describes ayatana.
Base or something that consciousness depend on in order for it to arise. Now, you said the external objects. Now, why the external objects? Like sound or taste or like that?
Yeah, so I would understand that the like sort of like in a human being or a being, so we have these senses and we get these objects that we can experience, but I don't understand how our foundations or bases, the visible object and etc.
That's because
outside.
If there is nothing to see, eye consciousness cannot arise. Yeah, it needs an object.
Yeah.
If there is no sound, ear consciousness cannot arise. Yeah, so it depends on this is something that is necessary for consciousness to arise, because without that, let's say just take sound. Without sound, ear consciousness cannot arise, because it is necessary for something for it to hear. So that's the object part is also very important. So consciousness must always take an object. So without its corresponding object, consciousness cannot arise.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Mila.
Just a quick question. I heard that some people, when they hear something, they instantly see a color, or when they, it's vice versa. It's called, I just looked it up. Apparently, it's called synesthesia.
Mm.
So it's experiencing, um, you hear a word or a name and instantly see a color. Since it's a fancy name for when you experience one of your senses through another. So for example, you might hear the name Alex and see green.
Mm.
So I was just wondering, is it just, I feel like it could be just like an add-on. You can still hear, right? Like you have to have a sound base, something to hear, and then additionally you see something. So it could be
Now,
that
this seeing is seeing in the mind, is not seeing with the eye. Yeah, agree?
yeah, yeah.
Right? So when you listen to the word Alex, that's real. I mean, that's real sound object. Yeah, that sound object, and then ear consciousness really arise because the ear consciousness, ear sensitivity is there. The sound Alex, the word is there, and when it get in touch, then ear consciousness arise. Yeah, so this part is here. Yeah. Now, when the person see green color, that green color is not a rupa. It's not it's not visible. Yeah, it's here. It's his imagination. It's in his mind. Yeah, he see that color. It's here. So it's other types of mind that sees it, but it's not the eye consciousness. Eye consciousness did not arise there. Otherwise, everyone should see green when they hear the word Alex. No, if it is something that is visible, but it is particular to that person, not all person. So therefore, here it is seeing with the mind. So it's not really eye consciousness. Absolutely did not arise there. Yeah.
So what kind of explanation would you give to that kind of phenomenon?
Well, the mind can do a lot of things. That very much depends on the person himself.
Yeah.
Maybe if we want to give some possibilities, that could be due to very strong past tendency. Could be a person, maybe past life he was a painter, so he's very sensitive to color. That is possible. That is possible. So what he sees something or he listens something, then that things pop up more easier. Yeah. Then some people maybe he has been a musician for many lifetimes. Then the sound, he's very sensitive to sound. Then those tendency. Because the mind stream rolls on, no? Rolls on and rolls on and rolls on. So we don't know what happened in our previous existence, and so many things can contribute to what happens in this life also.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. So until here, we have finished with the Āyatana. Shall we continue with the Dhātus? Everyone okay? All right. Okay, let's go to Dhātu then. Now, Dhātu, usually translated as element. So as we said, it is again the same for ultimate reality, but now classified into 18, yeah, into 18 different elements. So that means that here we have 12. So that means something is to be further divided here. Now, in this category, the 18 Dhātu, 11 of them are actually exactly the same as the Āyatana. So this does not change, but now it's called the, not called eye base, but it's called the eye element. So visible, not visible base, and the visible object element. Yeah, so they are, this 10, 11 of them, they are exactly the same as the bases. So yes, so the door and its object, the 5 sense in the Āyatana and the 5 pairs of the doors are mentioned earlier, no, in Āyatana. So eye base and the visible object base. Now in the Āyatana group, besides the door and the object, here the consciousness are also taken out to be included in the set, in each set. So in the 18 Dhātus, now we have again eye sensitivity, visible object, plus another dhatu is the Chakku Vijnana itself, eye consciousness. So in this set, we have the base, the two bases, and the consciousness itself. So each of these are called one dhatu here. So eye element, visible object element, and eye consciousness element. Okay, so in the same way, we understand for ear, nose, tongue, and body, the 5 senses. So the 5 types of consciousness are taken out. And then, so here, how many? We have already 15 here, yeah, 15, so 3 more. Okay, now we already said that this Dhamma-based object is exactly the same as the Āyatana. So that means here, in the all kinds of chittas here, it has to be further divided. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, Manayatana, in the last group, mind base, all chittas are included in the mind base. And in the Dhātu, we already see that the 5 senses, the 5 sense consciousness, Chakku Vijnana, Sota Vijnana, Ghana Vijnana, Jiva Vijnana, and Kaya Vijnana are taken out already. So each of them are one Dhātu here, right? So 5 here, 5 Dhātu. Okay, now, here, what we have to be careful is that when we see the first one, let's say, the Chakku Vijnana Dhātu, we need to understand that it includes 2 chitta here. When we say eye consciousness element, it includes 2 chitta here. Remember, there are 2 kinds of Chakku Vijnana. What are they? They are the Akusala Vipaka and the Kusala Vipaka, no? So we have 2 kinds of eye consciousness, resultant consciousness. One is the result of a previous unwholesome karma, and the other one is a result of the previous wholesome karma, no? So that's when we see some pleasant or desirable object, or when we see some undesirable object, no? So we have 2 types of Chakku Vijnana, eye consciousness here. So in the same way, when we talk about Chakku Vijnana Dhātu, we have 2 chittas, 2 Chakku Vijnana here. In the same way, Sota Vijnana also, we have 2 Sota Vijnana, one unwholesome resultant and one wholesome resultant, right? And then the same way for nose consciousness, also 2 of them. Then tongue consciousness, also 2 of them. And body consciousness, also 2 of them. When we have desirable pleasant touch or unpleasant touch, yeah? Okay, so we know, remember this Chakku Vijnana Dhātu, when we say element, well, eye consciousness element, they are always the pair of these 5 sense consciousness, 5 sense consciousness element, they are always pairs. So we have here altogether 10 chittas are included, no? Okay, now, after the 5 senses, all chittas are further divided into another 2 dhātu, another 2 elements. The first one is called Mano Dhātu, mind element. And what is included in mind element? Let's see. The 5-door averting consciousness, Pancha Dvara Vajana Chitta, and the receiving consciousness, Sampatichana. The 2 receiving consciousness also, again, there are 2, because there are also 1 Akusala Vipaka and also 1 Kusala Vipaka, no? So altogether, these 2 types of consciousness, altogether 3 of them are separated to be called Mano Dhātu here, mind element. So we may say, why these 3 chittas called Mano Dhātu, why are they grouped into one separate group? That's because they are actually very simple chittas. They do not do much, no? So let's go back to a 5 sense door process. Now, in the 5 sense door process, this 5 door averting consciousness, Panchadvara Avajana Chitta, if you still remember, after Bhavanga stream ceased, then something is happening, no? So something is, let's say, for the eye to see or for the ear to hear or any of this. So before the Chakku Vijnana, eye consciousness arise, before that, the mind actually turns. No? There is one chitta that's called the 5-door averting consciousness, Panchadvara Vajana Chitta. Its job is very simple. It doesn't do much. It just turns the mind towards that door. Yeah, that's towards that object. Then let's say Chakku Vijnana here. So I consciousness arise. And after that, after Chakku Vijnana arise, what happened? Then receiving consciousness arise. Then receiving consciousness also does not do so much. It just take the object that is being, it received the object that is being taken by the I consciousness, right? And then it's its job, and then it is then later on the investigating consciousness arise, no? So here, this Panchadwara Vajana Chitta and the Sampatichana Chitta, these two, they are very simple chittas, and they do not have too much work, no? Like the function is very simple. Now, sometimes when we say Manodhatu, the mind element, then we might not remember which chitta are included in this group. So a simple way to remember them is that the two chitta that is before and after the five sense consciousness. Then these two are the Manodhatu. And now receiving consciousness, again, here they are of two now. Remember the Akusala Vipaka and the Kusala Vipaka. So these two, altogether three chitta, are called Manodhatu, mind element here. They're separated into one group. Okay. Now, after Manodhatu, then we have another last group of chitta that is included in the dhatu, and that is called Mano Vijnana Dhatu. That's mind consciousness element, translated as mind consciousness element, and easy, and those are all other chittas. All chittas other than the Dvipancha Vijnana, the two set of the five consciousness, and the three mind element. So other than that, all the other ones are called Mano Vijnana Dhatu. Okay, so in this case, now we take a look at the 18 dhatus. Then we see that we have the the set of three for the I consciousness. Then we have the I element, visible object element, I consciousness element, and in the same way for the five senses. And the mind, all chittas are further divided into Manodhatu and Mano Vijnana Dhatu. Okay, and this mind, Dhamma object element here is the same as the Āyatana. It's the same as the base. So it is just a further division of the consciousness of all types of different chitta into 18 in this case. Then they are the dhatu. No? So it's not difficult to understand. Again, it's just the four ultimate realities grouped it into different groups for different persons who have different tendency to understand better how this ultimate reality are separated, no? How they are different from each other. Most probably according to function here, right? Because of what they do, like with five senses and the other minds. Okay, so until here, we are finished with the 18 dhatus also. All clear? Yeah, okay. Yeah, just now, maybe some of you have been also taking the Dhammasangani class on Sundays. And just so coincidentally, we are also talking about the Āyatana, about the Dhātu, and also about the Ariya Sacca, the Four Noble Truths. No, so just at the same time, no, we're also talking about this. So it should be familiar. If you are taking the other class also, so we're talking about the same things here. So it's just a different classification. Okay, so let's take a 5 minutes break before we continue to the last group, which is the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so we'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Okay, so we are going to continue with the Four Noble Truths. Now, this is actually the last section of this chapter 7. It's very interesting also and very important, this last group, the Ariya Sacca, the Four Noble Truths. So let's just quickly take a look of what the four of them are, and then we will go into details of each one of them. Okay, the first one of the first noble truth is called the Dukkha Ariya Sacca. That's the noble truth of suffering. And then we have the Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Sacca, the noble truth of the cause of suffering. Then we have the Dukkha Nirodha Ariya Sacca, the noble truth of cessation of suffering. And we have the Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Ariya Sacca, the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Now here, in the teachings of the Buddha, truth, what we call truth, Satya here, is not only one. For many religions, there's only one truth. No, we say like there's only one truth. But in the Buddha's teaching, there are four truths here, four noble truths. And in the Buddha's teaching, truth does not necessarily mean something very high or lofty or like wholesome state. Whether they are wholesome or whether they are unwholesome, whether they're high or low, if they are true, as they are described, then they are called truths here. So even unwholesome states are included in the truth, in the noble truth, no? Such as the cause of suffering here, no? It's also included in the second noble truth. Okay, so these noble truths were discovered or realized by the Buddha while he was sitting under the Bodhi tree practicing Vipassana meditation. Now, these four noble truths were discovered by him and not invented by him. It was discovered by the Buddha for the first time since the disappearance of the teaching of the previous Buddha Kassapa. So all the Buddhas always teach these four same noble truths. Then after the Buddha realized these four truths, then throughout the 45 years before he attained Parinibbana, he kept teaching these four noble truths again and again in many occasions. No? So this is a very important, and we may say that the core of the Buddha's teaching. Now, why are these truths called the noble truths? Now, Sayadaw Usilananda, he gave some explanations of why are these truths called noble truths. Then that's because they are penetrated and understood by the noble ones, therefore they are called the noble truths. And secondly, these are the truths taught by the noblest of the nobles, therefore they are called the noble truths. And the third reason, that's the realization of these noble truths leads to the state of a noble one. When a person realizes these truths, then it leads to the state of an Ariya, of a noble one. Therefore, they are called the noble truths. That's the third reason. And the fourth reason, that's because these truths are real, unalterable, undeceptive truths about existence. So because of these four reasons, they are called the noble truths. Okay, so let's go to each of them one by one. Now the first one, the Dukkha Ariya Sacca, the noble truth of suffering. Here, dukkha, this word is important, right? The dukkha Ariya Sacca. So what we need to understand here is the suffering, the dukkha. What does it mean by dukkha here? The Buddha explained in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta what is dukkha. In this sutta, the Buddha mentioned that birth, jati, is dukkha. Old age, jara, is dukkha. Sickness, vyadhi, is dukkha. Death, marana, is dukkha. All this we can easily understand, yeah? But then the Buddha further explained that association with the unbeloved things or person is also dukkha. And the separation from the loved, whether things or person, is also dukkha. Also, not getting what is wanted is also dukkha. So all this is dukkha that we can understand because we experience this in our own life, yeah? Now, about this not getting what is wanted, what does that mean? Does it mean that we want to win a lottery, we want to get a new car, we want to get a romantic relationship, or we want a new house and we don't get that? And does it mean that that is not getting what is wanted? Of course, those are included, but here the Buddha wants to mean something deeper. We don't want to get sick, but we get sick. We don't want to get old, but we get old. And we don't want to die, but we die. Yeah? Not just material things, but also in this deeper level, we need to understand that that is meant by what is meant by not getting what is wanted. Okay, so let's take a look at the sutta itself. The Buddha said, birth is dukkha, aging is dukkha, death is dukkha, sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, and despair are dukkha. Association with the unbeloved is dukkha. Separation from the loved is dukkha. Not getting what is wanted is dukkha. In short, the 5 aggregates of clinging are dukkha. So this is explained in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. It's in the Samyutta Nikaya, 56.11. That's the first discourse that the Buddha gave after his enlightenment. No? That's the turning of the wheel turning discourse. No? And it explained about the first noble truth here, about what is dukkha here. Now at the end it says, in short, the 5 aggregates of clinging are dukkha. And what is 5 aggregates of clinging? Remember, in this chapter we have looked at it. That's everything that can be taken by lobha and ditthi as object, meaning all kind of mundane states, all lokiya states are dukkha. Or in other words, we can find in the Dhammapada, verse 278, the Buddha said, Sabe sankhara dukkhati. So all conditioned things are unsatisfactory. That means all things that are conditioned, all conditioned things are dukkha. They are unsatisfactory. Now here, I would like to quote Sayadaw Usilananda a little bit. Is his explanation from the Handbook of the Abhidhamma Study, which is a transcript of an Abhidhamma course that Sayadaw gave in the United States many years ago. So here Sayadaw quite strongly explained what is meant by these 5 aggregates of dukkha. No? So I'll quote. Sayadaw said, the 5 aggregates of clinging themselves are suffering. That is why we must be honest in describing the noble truth of suffering. Sometimes people want to soften the meaning of the word so it will be acceptable to many people. They say it's subject to suffering or something like that. It is not subject to suffering, but it is itself it's suffering. We must understand this whether we like it or not. When the Buddha said the 5 aggregates of clinging are suffering, he says they are suffering, not that they are subject to suffering. If they are subject to suffering, then suffering is one thing and the 5 aggregates would be another. But here, what the Buddha meant is that the aggregates themselves are suffering because they are oppressed by arising and disappearing. You must understand the real meaning of dukkha. What is the meaning of dukkha? Dukkha's meaning is being oppressed by arising and disappearing. This is the characteristic of dukkha. This is the mark of dukkha. If you want to know whether something is dukkha or not, you must try to find out if it is oppressed by arising and disappearing. This is very important. Only when you see dukkha in that way, do you really see dukkha. Otherwise, your understanding of dukkha is not deep enough. Okay, so that's what Sayadaw said. And in short, the important point here is when the Buddha said that the 5 aggregates of clinging are suffering, he means that they are suffering. They are not just only subject to suffering, but they themselves are dukkha. Dukkha's meaning is being oppressed by arising and disappearing. This is the characteristic of dukkha. So whatever that arises and passes away, whatever that has a beginning and has an end, that is dukkha. So that is the main point here. So sometimes, as Sayadaw said, that sometimes we want to take the thing we want to soften it a little bit up because it is subject to suffering. But no, the Buddha said it itself is suffering or unsatisfactoriness. No, we should use the word dukkha, this Pali word, because dukkha, the meaning is so much wider than the English word suffering. No, because sometimes we understand suffering to be like painful and all those things. But here, all conditioned things are suffering. So even pleasant feeling, even everything basically, even something that we like are also dukkha. So it's always better to use the word dukkha itself. Well, so that's the First Noble Truth, the dukkha Ariya Sacca. So in ultimate reality, all mundane states are included in the First Noble Truth. Just in the same time in the Dhammasangani course, we have also been talking about what ultimate reality are included into this four Ariya Sacca, this Four Noble Truth. So I think that if you have been following the class, then you already know that every conditioned things are included here except Lobha Cetasika, no? Because Lobha Cetasika, it belongs to the Second Noble Truth. That's the dukkha samudaya ariya sacca, the second noble truth, the noble truth of the cause of suffering. Yes, Edith.
It's interesting, even the jhanas are in here.
Yes, of course, because it arises and it passes away. They are not permanent. Yes, even panya, everything, all lokiya states are included. Yeah. Okay. So the second noble truth, the cause, the noble truth. Now here, the noble truth of the cause or origin of suffering, this dukkha samudaya. Samudaya means cause or origin. So dukkha samudaya means the cause or origin of dukkha. And what is the cause or origin of dukkha? It's lobha. Yeah, craving.
It's not wrong.
Tanha. It's what? Sorry, Eddie?
It's not wrong view, because before we was talking about it, no?
Okay. Yeah, it will come.
Sorry.
It will come. So let's finish this, then it will touch that part. Okay. So it's tanha here, no craving. So in ultimate reality, it is the lobha cetasika here. Okay. So it is singled out as one separate truth because why we only say lobha here, but we can say moha also, no? Ignorance also, actually all kinds of defilements also, they are all cause of suffering. So, but why only lobha is mentioned here? That's because it is the most prominent cause for the prolongation of the existence in samsara, right? Therefore, it is taken out here. But now tanha is also divided into three aspects. Previously, we have already seen that we have kama tanha, bhava tanha, and vibhava tanha, no? The three types. So in English, it is translated as kama tanha, craving for sensual pleasures. Bhava tanha is translated as craving for continued existence. Vibhava tanha, translated as craving for annihilation. But here, we have to be careful for the bhava tanha and vibhava tanha because this translation might be a little bit misleading. Sayadaw Usilananda, he said that this second and third aspect are almost always misunderstood by people. So we will go into detail for that later. Now, first, let's take a look of kama tanha first, craving for sensual pleasure. So this is easy to understand. Of the five senses, we want to see interesting things, beautiful things, listen to pleasant music or pleasant sound, smells, good things, taste and touch, everything we crave for this sense pleasure. That's kama tanha, no? Easy to understand. Then how about bhava tanha, translated as craving for continued existence? Let's take a look. Bhava. In the Visuddhimagga and in other commentaries, it is explained that bhava here actually means an eternalist view. An eternalist view. That this eternalist view takes things to be permanent. So bhava tanha means tanha craving accompanied by the wrong view that things are permanent. That tanha is called bhava tanha here. So Claudia, here DT already it's included, right? DT is also here. But it's a specific kind of DT, of course. So this is the craving together with eternalist view. Let's take a look at vibhava tanha. It's translated as the craving for annihilation. Here, vibhava means annihilationist view. That is lobha together with this wrong view that after death there is no more, everything is finished, that there is no more rebirth for being after death. So this kind of view is called the annihilationist view. The craving which accompanies this kind of view is called the vibhava tanha here. So not craving for non-existence, not craving for does not exist anymore. Instead, it is the craving that is accompanied by this kind of wrong view, thinking that there is nothing anymore after death. Okay, so therefore here, the three aspects of this craving, kamatanha, bhavatanha, and vibhavatanha. For kamatanha, no problem, craving for sensual pleasure. For bhavatanha, we need to understand that it is a craving accompanied by the wrong view that things are permanent. And for vibhavatanha, that is, we need to understand that it means the craving accompanied by the wrong view that beings are annihilated at death. So in simple words, kamatanha is the tanha, the lobha itself, and bhavatanha and vibhavatanha is the lobha plus the wrong view, these two different kind of wrong view here. Yes, Claudia.
Yeah, my question is, this craving, they are not all related within them, because when you have craving for sensual pleasure, then I think you crave for that because you have a view that these things are permanent.
Not necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so in this Ariya Sacca, second noble truth, the Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Sacca, the noble truth of the cause of suffering, then we can understand it in these three ways. And just kamatana, craving for sensual pleasure, or those two cravings together with the wrong view. And in ultimate reality, it is just lobha here. But as I said, also in Dhammasangani class, we have seen that also in the Vibhanga, in the second book of the Abhidhamma book, that teacher explained that there are different classifications. Sometimes not just only tanha is included, but sometimes all kinds of kilesas are included, all kinds of defilements are included into the cause, no? And sometimes all kinds of states, no, even wholesome states and unwholesome states can also be included. Right? So it depends on the different classification. But here we take only lobha because it is the most prominent cause for the prolongation of existence in samsara. And in the next chapter, in chapter 8, when we talk about the dependent origination, at that time, then we will see, of course, it's not just only lobha, then moha also have his part to do, and sankhara also, no, the previous karma, so they are all related, and how they are dependent on each other. Then in the next chapter we are going to look at that. It's going to be very interesting too. Okay, so until here we've finished the second noble truth. Let's go to the third. Dukkha Nirodha Ariya Sacca, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. Nirodha means cessation or disappearance. So no more suffering, no? And here, the ultimate reality of it is nibbana. So by the eradication of all kinds of cravings and all kinds of defilements, the realization of nibbana and the eradication of craving occurred at the same time in the magga. Remember, in the first magga, has the function of eradicating all kinds of defilements and the realization of nibbana. So if something has a beginning, and it must have an end also. So the Buddha, before he became the Buddha, he thought, no, if there is dukkha, but if there is dukkha, there must be a cessation of dukkha as well, right? So that's the third noble truth. The noble truth of the cessation of suffering is nibbana itself. Okay, so let's go to the last one, the fourth. Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Ariya Sacca. Now, it's translated as the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Patipada means the practice or the way, Patipada, and Gamini means that which goes to or which people go to, going to. And Nirodha is the cessation of dukkha. So it's usually translated as the path or the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And as we all know, this is the method, So that's the Noble Eightfold Path. The eight path factors, that is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And sometimes it is also called Magga Sacca or the middle way. Majjhima Patipada also it's called. So, but we understand is the Noble Eightfold Path. So we have talked about Noble Eightfold Path many times already, so we're not going to repeat it again here. So we understand in ultimate reality, so 8 factors are included here in the fourth Ariya Sacca. All right. Yes, Claudia?
Yeah, what I want to ask is that when somebody started to walk the path of the cessation of suffering, there is a possibility that this person never go out from it or never forget about
if
it?
the person arrived to the first stage of enlightenment, Sotapatti Magga,
Yes.
if it arrives to the first stage of enlightenment, then there is no going back. Therefore, it is called the stream enterer, no? But until then, before we arrive to the first stage of enlightenment, although we practice, but because our foundation and our wisdom is not strong enough yet, then sometimes we may forget, sometimes we may get not interested, sometimes sada, the confidence of faith can also decrease, and so there is no guarantee until the first stage of enlightenment.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so until here, then we have finished with the Four Noble Truths, which were discovered or realized by the Buddha. And also in the first sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, then he gave to his 5 friends, the Panchavaggiya near the Deer Park. And that's the discourse that explained about this Four Noble Truths. Okay, so if you're interested, then you can again go back to the Samyutta Nikaya and read that sutta. So here with this comes to the end of the compendium of all, so the Sabbasangha. With this, we have also come to the end of chapter 7. Congratulations, everyone. We are progressing a lot. Okay, so next chapter 8, is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk about cause and effect. It covers 2 of the most important doctrines or teachings in the Buddha's teaching. The first one, the Paticcasamuppada, dependent origination, as well as the Patthana, the causal relations. Of course, these 2 topics is very deep, and it is quite impossible to study very in-depth everything of these 2 topics. But in chapter 8, we can take it less an introduction into this dependent origination and the Patthana, because these are long studies and they are very deep and not easy to understand in its totality. So slowly, as an introduction, we will go through, and then we can go deeper later on if we are interested. How many chapters are there in total? 9 chapters. We're almost there. So in chapter 8, we are going to look at the cause and effect. And then in chapter 9, it's all about practice. So we are going to talk about the 40 kinds of different kinds of meditation, samatha meditation, as well as vipassana meditation. So that's chapter 9. And then that will be the end of the Abhidhamma Sangha. So with these 9 chapters, we'll have a good foundation or a good basic understanding of the Abhidhamma. And it is going to be very, very helpful for our further study of the Abhidhamma. The books of the Abhidhamma Pitaka, no? Okay, we still have a little bit of time. If you have any questions, we can discuss, or if not, we can also finish here.
I just wanted to express my gratitude because the new class is actually, I mean, to me, it's not, I feel like we already learned everything here with you, mostly. So I'm really happy how in-depth we are doing this here.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, and actually here we are building a foundation, no? Because in the Dhammasangani class, it's talking about the first book of the Abhidhamma Pitaka, and the Matikas, they are very important. So without this basic understanding of the Abhidhamma Sangha, it will be very difficult to follow that. So I'm very glad that we are building a good foundation here for further study. So yeah, and then it's just starting. I think it's going to get more and more interesting.
Good to hear that.
The Dhammasangani class. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so thank you, everyone. And if you have no more questions, then we will close here and we will see again next week. Yeah. Okay, so let's share merits and also dedicate our efforts for the attainment of Magga and Phala wisdom. Itam no punyam Magga Phala jnana sapajayo hotu. Itam no punyam Magga Phala jnana sapajayo hotu. Itam no punyam Magga Phala jnana sapajayo hotu. Itam no punyam savasatanam bhajima. Itam no punyam savasatanam bhajima. Itam no punyam savasatanam bhajima. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a very nice week ahead, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Very much. Bye.